Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Well Off Podcast. I'm your host, George Masri, and on today's episode, I interviewed Mike Johnson. Mike is a full-time realtor with McKay Realty Network. He's also an investor. He moved from Halifax around 5 or 6 years ago, and joined a friend of mine, Sandy McKay's team out in Hamilton. He started buying some rental properties then, started selling real estate, and he's actually grown his portfolio to over 30 doors in a very short period of time. So we broke down how he was able to do it, what it's been like working with Sandy and having like certain people around him that influence him and that allow him to go into these crazy deals. He recently purchased a 6-unit building that I was looking at as well. So we broke down some of the numbers, what he bought it for, how much he's going to spend on the renovations, the after repair value, and the rental income that he expects from that building. We also looked at another one of his deals. So there's a lot of good stuff in here if you're interested in multi-unit investing, or just in general if you want to learn about how to grow your portfolio and get to the next level. So if you enjoy this show, then I ask you to share it with your friends and family. Make sure to leave us a review, especially on Apple Podcasts. Drop us a comment and a like on YouTube if you're watching it there. And if you are interested in connecting with me, you can go to welloff.ca. My contact information is on there. You can also book a 15-minute call if you want to chat. So enjoy the episode, and I'll see you guys soon. Welcome to the Well Off Podcast, where the goal is to motivate, inspire, and share success principles. I'm here with Mike Johnson, who is a full-time real estate entrepreneur. He spent a couple years out working on his business career, getting an MBA, and then worked hard in the corporate world, but then decided to give it all up to begin a journey in real estate as a full-time realtor. And in just a few years, he's been able to acquire 30 plus doors, $10 million real estate portfolio, and build a thriving career as a realtor. So Mike, welcome to the show. I appreciate having you here, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. We were just chatting about it, but it's been a while, so I'm looking forward to catching up with you.
Yeah, for sure. Just so to give people some background here, I like to start off by asking you a little bit about your childhood. Do you want to tell me about where you grew up and a couple things you remember?
Yeah, so didn't grow up in Ontario. I grew up out east in Halifax. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just a small town boy. And then moved to Ontario for more opportunity. I did my master's at Laurier. At that time, I thought my ticket was to get a nice cushy job in the corporate world and climb the corporate ladder. And yeah, I think 2 months in corporate, I realized that this sucks and I need to do something else. Yeah.
Do you remember,
here I am.
Do you remember anything specifically about Halifax, something that stands out to you when you were growing up?
That's in any way related to what I'm doing right now?
No. Just anything like personal that you remember from just being a kid growing up in Halifax.
Yeah, I mean, people are a lot more laid back, I would say.
Yeah.
Gorgeous scenery. You got the ocean out there. Quiet, calm pace of life. Everyone's super friendly. So yeah, I'm super grateful that I'm from there and got to spend most of my life there. I love it. And I work with a lot of clients, actually. Probably 10% of my real estate sales business is working with East Coasters that now live in Ontario, and we're selling their houses up here and shipping them back out there. So
nice. Yeah.
I hope at some point, I have someone that will sell my house down the road and ship me out there, because it's a great place to retire.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think I had somebody that was selling, I think it was a piece of land out there. I think it was like 20 grand or something. I don't know if it wasn't in Halifax, but somewhere
super cheap.
Yeah, super cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just kind of, because you had the corporate experience, I just wanted to share a little bit about me too. So I actually had a corporate job while I was studying at university. I used to do quality control. I would basically like copy and paste from a PDF all day. It was so boring. And I actually got fired from my job after being there for just over 2 years. And that's what led to me getting into real estate. So I agree. I totally understand where you're coming from. It was such a boring, terrible job. So I just didn't see myself doing that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. I remember every day I would go in, be a Monday morning, and you'd show up, and where I worked at Honda Canada, and I had to go on the elevator to get to my floor.
Yeah.
And say, George, how was your weekend? Oh, it was great. Just living the dream. Another week. Here we go. And you just go up and everyone is so miserable. They're like robots. And what I realized when I worked with some really successful people, some people I learned a lot from. But at the end of the day, when I looked around, it didn't matter if it was the CEO of the company, my direct report, or my coworker. Mm-hmm. There was no one there that I wanted to be like when I so-called grew up. So.
Yeah. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. There are a lot of people that make a good living that way, and they maybe invest on the side and get to financial freedom their way. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I just personally, I think you agree. I just didn't see my life playing out that way personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect for some people. Just not me. I respect what they're doing. I respect what we do. Yeah. Each their own, right?
Yeah. For sure. So as you know, this is a real estate investor focused podcast. So I wanted to dive into your, acquisitions over the last few years. I see you have over 30 doors, and I know you started selling, was it like five years ago or so?
It will be 4 years in September.
4 years in September.
So like three years and change.
Yeah. And when you started 4 years ago, you didn't own any rentals in Ontario. Is that right?
We own two. We own two single families in Hamilton.
2 single families in Hamilton at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've sold those at this point.
Right. Okay. So since then, can you tell us how have you been able to acquire 30 doors, 30 plus?
How? I don't know. Just make it I've always made it a priority in my life. Yeah. And I think going back to Halifax, I went to a public school after grade 7 onwards, and you see a mixed bag of kids. Some of them have money, some of them don't have money. A lot of them are middle class, and I would always observe who they are, where they came from, what their parents did. And there was a particular group of people. There were these Lebanese kids, and I was friends with some of them. And for whatever reason, they were the ones that had money. And as I grew up and got a bit older and asked more questions, I realized that the Lebanese parents are the ones that have started investing in real estate when they immigrated to this country. Mm-hmm. So from a young age, I was fortunate to live next door to nice old Lebanese lady. She's kind of like my third grandmother, and her husband was a real estate investor. So I got to see firsthand how it can just change your life and how quickly it can grow. Because if you look at them in that city now, they're not buying small multi-residential buildings or apartment buildings anymore. Mm-hmm. They're literally building the city from the ground up. Massive not skyscrapers like you see in Toronto, but skyscrapers by their standards.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's kind of what sparked my interest. And then, my family was into it. Like my great grandmother, who she died when she was 99 years old. I used to go and clean her rental properties when I was a little kid.
Nice.
So I got to see it from a very young age. And yeah, it's just, when I started in Hamilton, we would just scrape every single penny we had together and throw it all into real estate. So my first house, my down payment was 10 grand. 10 grand was literally all I had to my name. And then I'd save up another 10 grand and buy the next one.
Yeah.
And through being on podcasts like this or putting out some YouTube videos, people started to take interest, and they call and say, we want to do what you're doing, but we don't know how to do it. Okay, why don't we partner? And pretty much everything I own now is with a partner.
Nice. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't realize you were partnering. So that's definitely a good way to scale from 2 properties to 30 doors in a short period of time. You have the expertise also. So you've been, one thing before we move on. I don't know if you know this, but I'm Lebanese. So
are you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's interesting that you say that, because just being Lebanese, I don't know too many people that are really, really involved in real estate investing.
Yeah.
But there are always, there's always people that do it. But it's interesting that where you grew up, that the wealthy family was Lebanese and doing all that. So anyway, just a little side note there. But yeah, so you have the knowledge. I know you do a lot of prospecting too for your real estate sales business.
Yeah.
And in doing that, is that how you've been able to find a lot of your opportunities, or were they just deals that you found on MLS? What was the source there of your opportunities?
Mix of both. So when I got into the business, we would cold call every day to find listings to sell. As a result, sometimes you go meet with a potential seller and realize, I don't want to sell this house. I want to buy this house.
Yeah.
And you come up with a price that's fair for everyone, that makes sense for everyone, and buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way for sure. Over the years, not so much anymore because the market's so hot. But when I first got into the business, you'd see a lot of realtors from Toronto come and list houses in Hamilton.
Yeah.
And they'd make certain mistakes. Like maybe they price something very low, not hold offers. I'm obsessed with the market. I check it every 15 minutes. So if something good comes up, I will see it like oftentimes first and go be the first one in the door. If they're not holding offers, I'll buy it on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think prospecting is one way, realtor mistakes is another way. But a lot of what we buy is on the MLS. It's just a matter of being able to spot it quickly before anyone else does.
Yeah, for sure. So how much of your focus is on your real estate sales versus your real estate acquisitions, like your portfolio?
I would say probably 90% of my time is focused on sales.
Okay.
And then the real estate acquisitions kind of naturally flow off of the sales business.
Okay.
Oftentimes if an investor calls me and wants to purchase a house, sure, I'll sell them something, but the game I play is listings. So pretty on in that relationship, I tell them the best way to get the bulk of my time, or get a good chunk of my time, my interest, and find that best deal for you is to partner on it with me 50-50. Mm-hmm. If that's not something you're interested in, I'll send you to someone on my team and they can help you find the house.
Yeah. Right.
So a lot of the joint venture partners, they'll actually be clients looking for their own project. Mm-hmm. I'll normally take them to one of mine that's in progress and then one that's completed, and they kind of eye-opening for them. I think at that point, they at times get a little overwhelmed by how much is involved. And more often than not, they'll say, Mike, why don't we do it together for the first project? And then you can teach me everything, and the next one I'll do it on my own.
How often does that happen? How often do they buy one with you and then end up doing it on their own on the next one?
It's pretty rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They probably want to do more with you, right?
Because like recently, this year, I actually, for the first time ever, acted as the money partner.
Okay.
So I hands off, not doing anything. I just threw some money into a deal, and it's absolutely beautiful. I would take that deal, money partner, over active partner.
Yeah. Dealing
with tenants, dealing with contractors, plumbers, electricians. I would take the deal of money partner any day of the week.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
That's my goal long term. I don't want to be managing these myself. As I get a bit older, I want to find someone that's young, hungry, motivated, and just let them run with my cash.
Oh yeah. So do you see yourself just selling real estate long term? Like continuing to focus on your sales, listings, and then just have that 10% of your focus on the portfolio moving forward?
For the time being, I would say, and it's my wife manages everything we own. She manages the renovations. It's not like no one's dealing with it.
Yep.
My only role in our real estate investing business is to find partners and find deals.
Okay.
So I don't see that role changing. I have no interest in managing rental properties, dealing with tenants. Mm-hmm. And then the sales business is very lucrative. Nothing better in my mind for creating wealth than real estate investing. Nothing I've found that's better for generating a high income than selling real estate. If you found something, let me know, because I want to go do that.
Yeah, well, I know Mark Loeffler always talks about options trading, so I don't know if that might be one of those things.
I do that too.
Do you? Yeah.
The game for me, it's commissions through sales. We dump all that into real estate deals. And then from there, in this market we're in now, often the refis are significant. So we're, generally speaking, pulling out money on top, our down payment, our renovation plus some, and then that gets thrown into the stock market.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Just to see
Yeah,
your properties, like as your portfolio grows, you have more room to refinance, and it just keeps growing, and it's pretty awesome to see that. I know that. So for those that don't know, you work with Sandy McKay, who is the leader of McKay Realty Network, which is basically the team that you work on or work with. I know Sandy's very structured, and everyone typically has a role, and they focus on their role. They don't really do everything. You just do one thing really well, one or two things really well. How has that helped you grow and get to where you are today?
It's huge. I mean, he's taught me to be very robotic about the way in which I operate on a daily basis. And I think like selling houses, investing in houses, it's a tough business. Like you constantly, I focus on listings, but it's a grind. I love it, but you're constantly facing rejection. I probably have people telling me no about 100 times a day. So it's very important to wake up, block your time every day so you know exactly what you're doing at certain points during the day. Because I think if you do that, you don't let your emotions or the way you feel in the morning dictate the way your day is going to go. Like if I had a great day yesterday, that's awesome. If I had a bad day yesterday for whatever reason, that's fine too. I still know I'm waking up at 5 a.m. the following day. I'm going to do the exact same routine. At 9 a.m., I'm going to lead generate for new business. Then I'm going to follow up. Then I'm going to script and role play, go on appointments, negotiate contracts. Just do that over and over and over and over and over again. And the growth you get out of that repetition is exponential. It's crazy.
And that's how you become a sales beast.
Yeah. You're plugging our podcast. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. So moving forward, what are you focusing on? Are you doing you said you sold your single family homes. In terms of your investments, are you looking at bigger projects now?
Yeah. So we started with the single family homes. I don't think they make a whole lot of sense in Hamilton anymore.
Yeah.
We still own one of our single families, and then, we own the house we live in. So I guess we own two single families. Everything else is at least 3 units.
Okay.
When we moved away from single families, we started doing buy, renovate, refinance deals.
Yep.
And they'd normally be anywhere from 3 to 4 units. Now, most recently, we've been buying larger ones.
Okay. Can you kind of walk us through what purchase price you're looking for, and what are some of the key things you look for when you're buying these properties so that you can force appreciation and refinance quickly?
Yeah. So, I mean, in this market, I'm finding it really hard to find deals that make sense. It's tough for me to bank on the market continuing to appreciate.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen. That's why we moved to larger buildings. But in terms of the smaller residential stuff, 3 and 4 units.
Yeah.
So I can give you an example of a deal we're doing right now. It's going to be done in a month or so. So we got in at $500,000.
Whoa.
It's in Hamilton.
It's cheap.
It's about, it's a 2,400 square feet.
Okay.
Legal duplex. When we bought it, it came vacant. That's another thing. I'm not in the mood really to deal with tenants. I will if the deal is nice enough. But ideally, I want to buy these things vacant.
Yeah.
So 2,400 square feet renovation, looking at about $200,000.
I can already tell this is a good deal because of your purchase price.
Yeah, we got lucky there.
Yeah.
And refi should be 1.1, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's in downtown Hamilton that you got it?
Yeah.
And this was an off market, I'm assuming?
No, it was on market.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's a sweet deal.
Not holding offers, just second it came up, I was the first one into the house, gave them an offer, and that was that.
Yeah, you going firm?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That one we actually didn't know. That one we went in conditional.
Oh, wow.
We probably bought it 6 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's an awesome opportunity. I was looking at a property. I was looking to purchase one probably 4 months ago or so, 3-4 months ago. It was in Hamilton. It was a 6-unit building. I think you ended up buying that one. I saw you post about it on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah.
On Dunder. And you ended up buying it?
Yeah.
So how did you work that out? I mean, I submitted the offer. I put in a VTB in the offer, but I'm just curious to know can you share with us like how you made the numbers work and maybe some of the purchase price and some of the numbers you're expecting?
Yeah. So if I remember correctly, I think we got that one for 1 million. I think it was just under 1.2.
Okay.
There was a VTB on it. I'm not sure the exact amount. So we didn't, and we don't have a lot of money into that property right now. Like very little. And then I did that deal with a partner. So we closed it out on a private. I don't know if you saw I think it was the third floor. The floor, it kind of looked like a half pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have some structural work to do there for sure.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. So because of that, conventional bank wouldn't touch it. So we closed it out on a private. And that one, I have a partner funding the renovation. Mm-hmm. But we were between having the partner fund it, or recently we've been using private at 80% loan to value for the purchase.
Okay.
And then a private to do the renovation.
Okay.
Which is awesome. Like if you can use someone else's money for the majority of the buy and then the renovation also, cash out of pocket, oftentimes I'm spending less on these big buildings out of my bank account or out of my partner's bank account than I am renovating these triplexes and quads.
Sure. What kind of rates are you looking at for your private, your first, and then also your renovation funding?
So it's, I'm just trying to think here. I think we're 8.5
for your private first.
Yeah.
Okay.
8.5 for all of it.
With the renovations?
Yeah.
Nice.
So what they've done for us, 80% loan to value on the buy. Yep. And then you can actually get 100% for the renovation. They give it to you in draws. So say you have a $300,000 renovation. It's not like you're paying interest on $300,000 for a year. They'll give you 100 first. Yeah. You get city inspectors in, then the lender will come in, sign off on it, and give you your next draw.
Nice. What's your ARV on this?
I think we came in at 1. I don't have the numbers up in front of me, but I want to say 2.4. Okay. The lender or appraiser was saying we could get just under a 4 cap.
Nice. Awesome. So just in case people, because obviously I didn't give the details, sorry about that. But this is a 6-unit building. I think all the units are 2-bedroom units, right?
Yeah. Or more like 1 plus den. 1
plus den, yeah. It was kind of a they had some funky layouts. Like I know the bathrooms were kind of in the middle of this room, sort of. Like, anyway, the layouts were kind of weird. The building needs a lot of attention. The fire escape, I think you're probably going to have to address it at some point. Mm-hmm. But it's a beautiful location, a really nice spot in downtown Hamilton, and tons of potential. What kind of rents are you expecting to get from the units?
I think when we ran our numbers, we put them in at $1,650.
Nice. Plus hydro?
Yeah.
Cool. That's a sweet deal. It's awesome that you're doing that. You're going to transform that building. It's going to, it needs it. It needs it. It's been sitting there for a long time looking terrible. So good for you. Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about that one.
Yeah. Did you end up getting like a 10% VTB or something like that, or like a fixed amount?
I not sure on that
Okay, you don't
offhand.
remember. Yeah, no
Yeah.
worries. I'm just asking because I put in the
All I
offer
know, we're
too. So
putting very little into this
yeah,
deal.
yeah. Good for
Yeah.
you, man. That's good. Any other projects that you're working on? Anything new and exciting that you want to share?
Uh, yeah, we have a few going on right now. Like I have the one I shared with you the numbers on it earlier. We have
Yep.
that one, that'll be 4 units. And we have another one, 3 units. We have
Cool.
the 6 you just mentioned, and then another 6.
Okay. So you're involved in all like basically 4 projects right now that are in progress.
Yeah. And then I picked up, uh, it will be 3 or 4. We just picked it up last week.
Cool. Good for you. And are you planning on continuing right now, or is this enough for you for the time being?
I'll never stop. I'm
Yeah.
addicted to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
The way I look at it, like since I've been in Hamilton, which I think we bought our first house here maybe in 2016, the prices have gone up by 10%. And I don't have plans to ever sell any of the multifamily inventory I own. So I look at every single thing I buy as $1 million plus to my net worth in 20 years or 25 years when they're paid off.
And just to clarify, it's gone up more than 10% since 2016, right?
Well, we've had this crazy, I meant 10% annually.
Annually,
We've had this crazy run in the last, well, since COVID started. So
what are your thoughts on the market? Where do you think we're headed?
I don't know. I'm not an economist. I try not to make predictions on that. Just put my head down and work. I mean, eventually rates are going to go up, which I think what's happening right now is unsustainable. You just run the math on it. What are we at? 25, 30% appreciation in the city over the course of the last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So run that appreciation based on the average sale price in the city, which I think last month was around 750. So 750 at 20, call it 20% appreciation annually. If you run those numbers for too long, every house in the city is worth multiple millions of dollars. It's
for sure.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, of course. Definitely. You're right. We just can't keep up with this type of appreciation. Are you looking at opportunities outside of Hamilton as well, or do you only focus on Hamilton?
Just Hamilton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. At what point, I mean, you always find ways to make it work, right? Like when you started out, maybe single family homes made sense to buy and rent. And now you're saying the numbers don't really add up for a long-term buy and hold or even a BRRRR. But you're saying the multis work and that's what you're leaning towards. Are you looking at bigger things too? Are you looking at like larger apartment buildings?
I haven't, but I mean, up until 6 months ago, I wasn't planning on looking at anything in the commercial space.
Yeah.
So if it comes across my plate and the numbers make sense, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What gives you the courage to get into these big projects? Get a private on a $1.2 million purchase, dump a whole bunch of money into it, take on that risk, and do all that.
I think just like it sounds cliche, we've heard it 1,000 times before, but you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with. So one guy I hang out with all the time is Sandy. Other guy, I probably, when it comes to investing, I'm closer with him and lean on him more than Sandy. It's Adrian Pinozo.
Yeah.
That guy owns like 70 houses in Hamilton. So
yeah,
if I ever have a question, he's the guy I call. If I ever need advice, he's the guy I call. I try and model myself after him really when it comes to investing.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. So I guess your answer is basically the fact that you're around these people that are doing the things that you want to do gives you the courage to move forward, to take to take big action and to just do it, just make it happen.
For sure.
Yeah.
I remember when I joined this world I live in now, I would see those guys and be as casual about buying a new house for their portfolios as I was about brushing my teeth in the morning when I woke up.
Yeah.
And you stay in that environment and spend enough time with people like that, you're eventually going to become them.
Yeah, for sure. Where do you think you'd be if you didn't join McKay Realty Network when you started? If you had, just gone off on your own and started selling real estate on your own?
It would have never happened. I'd still be in corporate. Yeah. Like the only reason I got into this was because of Sandy. At the end of the day, I'd still be in corporate. And I have this book I write my goals in every year. And in January, I went back and looked at it, and I saw my plan is to continue working for Honda Canada for the next 20 years, buy a house a year, and then retire in 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm so happy it didn't work out that way, but that's probably what I would have done.
That's something you had written like 5 years ago or whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. That's so cool. Hey, your life's, you're pretty much like probably where you thought you'd be in 20 years right now.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Awesome.
It's
cool.
It's pretty cool in that sense. Like you sell real estate, like the income you can get through selling homes, really any business that makes sense that you're good at, is significant relative to what you'd make in the corporate world. So if you can go to your job and make $500,000 a year, and I go to my corporate job and I only make 100 a year, you're accomplishing in 1 year what takes me 5. So if I'm on a 25-year path to get to my retirement, you're going to get there 5 times faster.
For sure.
To answer your earlier question, what do I see myself doing in 5 years? I don't know. I know I'll probably still be working because I do love what I'm doing. But if I wake up some morning and decide, I don't like this anymore, I want to have the option to say, that's it. I'm done.
That's kind of Mark Loeffler's life there. Like sometimes he feels like working and he'll just sell a whole bunch of real estate, and then maybe he'll do something else for a while, whatever he chooses he wants to do.
I don't know if I want to go Sandy's route, building tons of businesses. Maybe I do, I'm not sure. I just know I want that option of complete freedom. So if one day I decide I don't want to wake up and do this anymore, I don't have to.
Cool. One last thing I want to ask you before we move on. What are your thoughts? I know we touched on it a little bit, but what are your thoughts on options trading? How has it helped you?
It's the coolest thing I've learned since the buy, renovate, refinance strategy.
Oh yeah.
And I did my MBA. I snoozed through every finance class. Totally uninterested. I wish they had taught me about this when I was in school. But I think it's incredible. I think I do pretty much what they taught. That tends to be the way with everything in my life. I just do whatever Sandy tells me to do. I don't get creative and think maybe I'll try it this way or try it that way. I'm coached by Marianne Gillespie, so she's really the one I listen to. She tells me to do something, I just do it.
Right.
I'm not the guy behind you, Steve Jobs, trying to create Apple Computer, or Elon Musk trying to go to Mars, or Kobe Bryant trying to be the best basketball player in the world. I want to make a lot of money and give my family complete freedom and an awesome life. And there are thousands of people that have done it before me. So why not just take the blueprint they've already created and replicate it? It's kind of the way I look at that.
Cool. Yeah, you've done really well in a short period of time. You're still growing. It's good to see, because I've seen you. I've been in touch with you here and there for a couple of years, so I've seen you grow, and it's nice to see. So I just wanted to move on to the next section, which is the random 5. So I'm going to ask you 5 random questions, and you just tell me the first thing that comes to mind, the first answer that comes to mind.
Okay.
So number 1, how do you feel about silence? Okay, you like it.
I'm very comfortable with it.
Yeah, all right.
No, sorry, that was weird, wasn't it?
It was a little bit weird, but Yeah.
That's my job. Just ask people questions and then bask in the silence.
Yeah, for sure.
He or she who speaks first loses.
Right. And
Yeah.
I lost that one.
You did.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. So my wife, she doesn't like silence at all. Like
No.
she finds it so awkward when it's silent, even if we're just driving in the car, if there's like 30 seconds of silence, she thinks something's wrong. So I thought it was a good question to ask. Number 2, have you ever been pranked?
Have I ever been pranked? I don't know. Not that I remember, no.
Okay. Somebody's got to prank you then. Number 3, how do you define a perfect morning?
Up at 4:30. I have a kid and a wife, so they ideally are still asleep. Silence, time to myself, just to think, go over my goals, affirmations, visualize what I want my day to look like, what I want my week to look like, what I want my year to look like, next 5 years, 10 years, all of it. And then work out, read something, and lots of coffee, lots of sparkling water. I love the soda stream. Can't live without it.
Cool.
And no food.
No food. Fasting?
Yeah.
Yep. Until what time?
11 or 12.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Number 4, what's the longest period of your life what's the longest period of time that you've stayed awake consecutively?
It's a good question. Not very long. Normally I go to bed at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So yeah, probably, in my college years, I've seen the sunrise in the morning.
Yeah.
But I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Unless I've woken up before the sun rises. But
there you go.
It makes me very uncomfortable to know I've stayed up all night and now the sun is coming up and I'm still awake.
Yeah, early 20s, that happens, I think, but probably the only time in your life when that happens, right?
Yeah, now bed to 9 is a perfect deal for me.
Yeah, I do that too. The only problem is like you can't go out anymore because you go out somewhere and 9 o'clock hits and you feel all tired and sleepy.
I know, right? Yeah, you get into a rhythm. So even on the weekends, it's hard to shut it off.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And the final question, what success principle do you live by?
Probably the one you just talked about. Like the real game changer for me was that book, The Miracle Morning. So my life was kind of sloppy. I would go out more than I should. Times I've weighed more than I should. I've eaten food that I shouldn't have eaten. And that book really cleaned up my life. So wake up early, go to bed early, really plan the way you want your life to look. And the next, like I said earlier, next day, next week, next year, next 5 years.
Yeah.
If you wake up early, you've already won the day. I used to live in Toronto, commute down to Hamilton, and I would run my dog in the morning at like 5 a.m. And we lived in a condo, and there were condo buildings everywhere. And the only light on was mine. And then sometimes you'd see another one. I'm like, oh, that other guy with the light on, that's a gangster right there, just like me.
Yeah.
But everyone else is sleeping, so I'm winning.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. There's something satisfying about knowing that you're doing things that 99% of other people aren't doing, or whatever the percentage is. Yeah.
And then you see people that are even more hardcore. Like some people wake up at 3:30, or some people wake up at 4 every morning and have these crazy routines. And I admire them so much. I respect that. Like I haven't gotten to that point. I don't know if I ever will, but
cool.
Pretty much everyone I know that's really blowing their life up, they wake up early.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with you on that. So we covered a lot here. To finish things off, how do people reach you and what services do you provide?
So they can reach me at mike@McKayRealtyNetwork.com or 226-792-6385.
Okay.
What services do I provide? I'm a listing agent. We also have a great team that work with investors. You want to buy and hold, buy or run a refi, we can help you. If you just want someone to chat about investing, more than happy to do that too.
Yeah.
I think it's important. Like, I was new to all of this not long ago. So, and I asked a lot of questions to a lot of different people and probably wasted a lot of people's time. So I'm more than happy to pay it forward, because no question's a dumb question. And yeah, I think we should all be helping each other.
For sure. Yeah, Mike, thanks for sharing all that. So your contact info is there, and it's going to be in the show notes as well. And I look forward to staying in touch and seeing you soon.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Take care.
All right. Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
As always, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the content. And if you did, I ask you to share this with a friend, with a family member, somebody who might benefit. And it's always appreciated if you can leave us a review, especially if you're listening to it on the Apple Podcasts app, or if you're on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, comment, and your support is always appreciated. Thank you very much.